the crew's hungry for pizza, swing by Bell Stores. Ohio owned and keeping the family on full. Offers and kitchen items available at participating Bell Stores. Check your local store for details.
Call Crown Heating and Cooling today. With Crown, estimates are always free. Let them show you how much you can save when you trust the carrier experts at Crown. Call 330-499-4988 or visit them on the web at crowngroupohio.com. Ohio license number 27133.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday. Let's do this Monday. ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The following program is sponsored by the Medicine Center Pharmacies. You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacies. Now, here's your host, Paul White.
Good morning and welcome to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I am your pharmacist, Paul White. We're glad you joined us.
Sorry. Good morning and welcome to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I am your pharmacist, Paul White. We're glad you joined us. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Aultman Health System. Today, Brad and I am broadcasting from our administrative offices, and our special guest is Stacy Montgomery, licensed professional clinical counselor with Aultman Medical Group Behavioral Health and Counseling Center. Good morning, Stacy, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on this morning. I look forward to talking about a subject that's really passionate to me.
All right. Well, we'd like to remind our listeners that our program today will also be available on our podcast. You can look for it in your favorite podcast app under Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Please subscribe to our program. We'd appreciate you being a member of it. And Aultman Medical Group Behavioral Health and Counseling Center provides understanding and supportive outpatient mental health services for common conditions like anxiety, depression, bipolar disorders, and post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay, Stacy, tell us about yourself and your career with Aultman, and what do you do as an LPCC?
Well, I've been here about 3 years here at Aultman, and I do two different roles. I started off as an outpatient counselor, seeing individuals every day. And then about 2 years in, I was asked to help with the intensive outpatient program. So I do group therapy in the morning and individuals in the afternoon. I like having the dynamics of group and therapy. And also here at Aultman, it's really nice. The colleagues I work with, they're very seasoned, and we have a different specialties here. What I think what separates us from a lot of agencies, we have a psychiatrist on hand, advanced psych nurse practitioner, and with the intensive outpatient and then the outpatient counseling. And I just see a variety of patients, whether it's relationship issues, it could be just stress, learning how to cope with just varieties of things going on in life. So what's nice too here about Aultman is we take a variety of patients, insurances. It's not just, a specialized, it's more broad. So it is one thing I like about working here. It's very welcoming and just different populations as well.
Yeah. So let's get into today's topic of counseling. What affects our mental health? There's so much out there.
Oh, yes. And I think a lot more than people even understand. I mean, even just different ways the world is going. We went through COVID and just different life transitions, whether it's, your kids are going off to college, whether it's a job loss. It could be life events, economic uncertainties, a lot of pressures on families with the inflation. And a lot of times, just our chemicals in our brains aren't always working correctly. And sometimes stress can lead to a depression that's clinical and that needs addressed. So I think just reminding people that mental health isn't always just the big, I'm sleeping all day, I'm anxious, I'm stressed. It could just even be life events, even a loss of a pet or a loved one. There's so many different things in our environment. I know I moved here from Western Pennsylvania 4 years ago, and I moved away from my family and I started over, and that was a transition. I had to find help and support and with my jobs and community. And yeah, it was tough, but I enjoyed the journey and I'm here in Ohio. But it's just things like that that even just transitions can affect our mood and our attitude and outlook.
Well, let's talk about stress. Can you talk about what's normal or abnormal when it comes to stress and
Mhm.
maybe even behavioral changes? I mean, I'm sure your transition from Pennsylvania was stressful. Just in it, and some people may not see it that way, but it is a stressor.
Oh, definitely. And good question, because I think there is a difference. I mean, there is, stress with, hey, there's more pressure at work. Maybe that you're going through a couple bad days where you're canceling plans, you're kind of down and out. But the thing is, how long is that going on in your functionality? Are you more irritable? Is there any behavioral or personality changes? These are things to look out for because we all go through just stress and maybe some moodiness, but you want to make sure that if it's going on 3 4 days, even a week, that you take some intervention so it doesn't go into like an episode or just impact jobs and relationships. That's the things to look out for. Is it impacting your relationships, your work performance, and just your overall quality of life and how you're feeling about life in general?
Okay. So, I think that as a perspective, it seems like it's getting to be a little more easy to seek help when you need someone to talk to, or maybe you need counseling. Can you give some background on when it might be a good idea for someone who's got a challenge they're dealing with, when it's okay to reach out for someone for professional help versus maybe just talking to a friend or trying to manage it on your own?
Hmm. Definitely. And like I was saying earlier, I think trying to get help earlier, the better. And if you notice where, you can't just get rid of the irritability, this sadness is lingering, maybe you're not performing at work like you used to, or you're canceling plans and your friends and family are wondering what's going on. Seeking counseling can help just provide an outside perspective and learn coping skills. I know for me, no one's ever taught me, hey, when you're sad, what do you do? My family would buy me something new thinking that would just make it all better. So, but definitely just having someone to just learn different skills and being able to bounce off ideas because it does get hard out there and without skills. And if you notice yourself start changing in behaviors, for example, hey, having a couple beers on a Friday turns into Saturday, Sunday, impulsive behaviors. We have the sports gambling now. It's so prevalent. So if you notice even, we're struggling to cope with impulses, that's a concern, and that could lead into relationship problems. So, once again, just when you notice those behavioral changes, maybe you're not acting like yourself, and when it starts impacting areas of your life, maybe not getting the physical activity. Some other things to look out for is your sleep, your eating. If those are starting to change, that's when I would seek some help, and you would need more than just a friend or a family member to vent to.
Okay. So, what can be some of the benefits or even gains from someone seeking counseling?
Mhm. Definitely having a non-judgment and biased view and someone objective. And I think it's a great place to feel validated. Some family members, and I hear it all the time, oh, just suck it up, or you don't need that. Our family don't do that. But to have someone to validate and say, hey, it's okay, or I've seen this, you're not alone. It's a safe space. And that's one thing I like about counseling is, people tell me all the time, like, wow, I didn't realize other people experience this, you know. And counseling doesn't have to be forever, I think, and it doesn't have to be when you're in a crisis. Like I said, just trying to have someone to talk to, even when symptoms are mild, of like, hey, the last couple weeks haven't been feeling like myself. But also, counseling can help you gain skills. And I always say, you don't know what you don't know. So when you know better, you can do better. So when a counselor asked about, different struggles and they provide the skills, it can be life changing, especially for someone that's never been introduced to any type of mental health education.
Okay. It's time for our first break. You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Mm.
Are you tired of paying hundreds of dollars to find out your thyroid, A1C, cholesterol, and vitamin levels? You don't have to anymore. Schedule your low-cost lab test at the Medicine Center Pharmacy. You can get your A1C, thyroid, and vitamin D lipid profile, which includes your cholesterol levels as well as glucose results. Test results in just minutes, and you can share them with your provider. Call the pharmacy or schedule online at midshoprx.com. Medicine Center Pharmacy with locations in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia. Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. The Medicine Center Pharmacies are now offering a service to help support your medication needs. We want to make sure that you have the medications you need when you need them. We will contact you 5 to 7 days in advance of your next medication refill to start the process each month. We will review your medications with you. We will contact your physician to initiate the process for refills and schedule a convenient day for pickup or home delivery. We simplify medication pickup into fewer pickups each month at the Medicine Center Pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia. Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Have you ever gone to the pharmacy and decided not to fill a prescription because of the price? This is pharmacist Paul White. If you have skipped filling a prescription or a dose because of the price, we have great news for you. We are introducing a new membership program with wholesale pricing on every generic medication. Memberships are $5 a month. For many of our customers, our wholesale pricing is even less than their copay. Visit our website, midshoprx.com, and use our price checker to find out the price of your medication. Great deals at Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Are we back? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Are you ready for vaccine season? Stop in or schedule your pneumonia, Tdap, or shingles vaccine online at midshoprx.com. So, Stacy, how often does a person attend counseling sessions?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it all depends on the needs and what someone's coming in for. Someone can come in maybe for 6 weeks. They have a specific issue. They get skills. They start feeling better. It could be every other week for a while, and then span out to monthly sessions. But that's what's nice about counseling. It's not a one size fits all. It all depends on your needs and what the resources and the various things that could be going on. But that's one thing I want to emphasize too, is I think some people, counseling, well, I don't, why do I even need this? What's wrong? Why can't I just will it away? Or there's something wrong with me. But realizing it's a way to gain skills to feel better and regulate your emotions. So yeah, the length of counseling doesn't have to be very long. It could be 6 months, it could be weeks. But like I said, everyone's situation is different. And when you talk to your counselor, you guys will develop a treatment plan for what's best for specific needs.
So, what are the goals of counseling?
Mhm.
Can it really help?
Definitely. And the first, what I would be is self-awareness. Like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. For some people, I've heard, well, I'm just an angry person. That's just my personality. You have to ask yourself, are you tired of that though? Are you tired of just always acting on impulse? Or I've just always been sad. I've accepted it. So counseling can help you gain skills. It can gain confidence to live the life that you want, cultivating a life that worth living for what you want. And like I said earlier, just having that validation. I've heard so many people say, no one never taught me. There's so many different skills and interventions that people can utilize, just even breathing techniques, relaxation, learning how to plug yourself into the community. These are all various things that, within counseling, you gain education. I just think knowledge is power. And when you know better, you can do better. So, yeah, counseling, I think, can really help someone have the life that they want, and I think there's a lot of pressure out there, and learning how to deal with stress and in more effective ways. I think a lot of us, we tend to do unhealthy behaviors, and we don't realize whether it's overeating, it could be substances, it could be, we're not dealing with how we're feeling, and then it can turn into just our lives just becoming unmanageable.
Um, I guess, are there different types of counseling for issues such as trauma, grief, and depression? I can't believe that they're all the same.
Mhm.
Um,
No, good question. And that's another reason why I just love it here at Aultman, because we have seasoned professionals with different expertise. For example, EMDR is a specialized training for trauma and various traumas. We have dialectical behavioral therapy, which helps with understanding change and acceptance, and helps with borderline personality and just emotion regulation, and just even talk therapy, just learning how to talk through and understand some of your past and how it affects your future. And then there's solution focus, to where somebody comes in and, hey, I'm having this relationship issue, and it could be a solution focus to where it's, like I said earlier, 6 weeks. But in motivational interviewing, that's another one, to where some people struggle with different impulses and just change in general, different substances, addictions. Um, and that motivational interviewing, learning how to help someone coach and motivate them to see another side, and how small changes can really help with impulse control. And it's just interesting, even with like social media and just the addiction there. Just some people, I hear a lot, I just spend so much time, and my mental health gets affected by what people are posting. And especially with the sporting apps, I've had people come in saying, yeah, I'm hiding this from my wife, or I want to do something different because I'm overspending. So it's learning how to control those impulses, and there's various therapeutic interventions to help with specific needs. So yeah, thank you for asking, because it's not just a one size fits all approach when you come to counseling.
you know, I get tons of emails and texts a day. Has this become a real pressure on individuals, their phone and their emails and all that kind of stuff, and what they have to do to deal with the phone stuff?
Hmm. It really has. I mean, especially the social media aspects of like the TikTok, the Instagram, and I see a lot of self-esteem that's affected. Even the teenagers I've worked with, and even parents in general. They don't realize how much time we're spending, and what we watch and what we listen to really does affect our mental health, because we'll sit and think about it, we'll dwell and obsess, and just learning how, like, moderation, most things are fine in moderation, but the problem is, us humans can take it too far. So realizing how's my quality of life, and am I having a balanced life? A lot of depression and anxiety, we forget, physical activity, exercise, quality time with friends and family. So when it comes to just the internet and just emails, pressure at work, one thing I try to work with my clients on is balance and boundaries. One thing, boundaries is huge. There's a lot of, people pleasing, and people struggle to say no, especially in the workplace or even with families. So, you go and go and go until you get burnt out. And another good thing in counseling is we work a lot with boundaries, how to love and also be able to say no. So yeah, definitely with, emails or just feeling like you always got to know the next thing going on. And especially with politics too, and the constant news 24/7. I mean, that really affects our mental health. I hear it all the time, like, oh, this is going on, that's going on. It's good to be informed, but there comes a time where we get too consumed, and here comes depression, anxiety, and some people just shut down, or they just live in anger and fear. And that's where a lot of times you don't know. So if you don't have that outside perspective, like a counselor saying, hey, this looks like it's creating some fear and anxiety, it's hard to stop a behavior without an intervention from an outside person.
I get home at night and I look at my phone and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. I said, how many hours is it going to take me to, and you can't even read them all anymore. And some of them that are important, you have to wipe them out, So I'm just thinking, anyway, frustration.
Oh yeah. And even shopping, I wanted to quickly touch on that because, it's so different that you could just click on a button and Amazon packages every day. You can click on food, can be sent to your door. So a lot of times it's like we struggle with that impulse control because everything is so convenient. And then I have people telling me, man, this is affecting my relationships because I'm overspending, or I know I shouldn't have done that. And once again, just working with a counselor on how can I set boundaries even with myself, so I'm not just clicking, because it's like a dopamine rush. You get that, oh wow, that new thing, or everything's so easily accessible. So it's once again, it's just understanding, because when you do something for so long, you don't even realize it's a problem until it is, or you develop these habits. So, like I said, a lot of good things can turn negative without boundaries and impulse control.
How about the people that sit down at the dinner table, get their phones out, and they're talking to each other on the phones?
Mm.
I,
That's a pet peeve of mine.
it is incredible at the restaurants, the number of people that are doing that. And I'm
Mm.
thinking, well, she's right across from you. Why don't you just talk to her?
Yeah, definitely.
I just think it's crazy.
All right. Are there counselors that take a faith-based approach?
Yes. There's and I think I would encourage, and most counselors here too, during our intake, we ask about spirituality and faith. And if we know that's important, most counselors are very open to talk about it, provide resources, and kind of dive into whatever the client needs. That's one thing here at Aultman, that we are very client centered. We meet clients where they're at. So if that is an important aspect, we have counselors here that specialize more in that area, so we can navigate to the appropriate fit. But it is important to note that there are counselors who deal with grief, their faith, and because I know sometimes, with counseling, it could be, well, I just have to rely on my faith, or let me go to other avenues, which is fine and appropriate. But sometimes when you have that licensed counselor that has those skills, that can also incorporate the faith plus some other areas of knowledge of mental health disorders, the combination can be really just life changing, insight and insightful.
Okay. 'Tis the bottom of the hour and time for the news. Thanks for joining us this morning on Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off on Out by Store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. The Medicine Center Pharmacies are now offering a service to help support your medication needs. We want to make sure that you have the medications you need when you need them. We will contact you 5 to 7 days in advance of your next medication refill to start the process each month. We will review your medications with you. We will contact your physician to initiate the process for refills and schedule a convenient day for pickup or home delivery. We simplify medication pickup into fewer pickups each month at the Medicine Center Pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia.
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, there's a disturbing case involving children in Cleveland. A 9 and 10-year-old have been charged in connection with the alleged rape and assault of a 5-year-old girl. The girl was found in a field near East 145th Street in Collinwood on September 13th with serious facial injuries. Both accused children will appear in juvenile court in the coming weeks. All of the proceedings remain closed due to their age. Officials are looking into what is happening with the investigation of a trooper being killed while sitting in his patrol car in Mahoning County yesterday. He had stopped on Route 11 to help a disabled truck, and he was in the car when another truck hit him from behind and pushed the vehicle into the rear of the truck that was parked on the side of the road. The driver of that truck was also injured because he was standing on the side of the road. He was life-flighted to a nearby hospital, but officials say that investigation is continuing. And our fall cash keyword is trick, T-R-I-C-K. That's trick. Go to WHBC.com right now and enter that word for your chance to win $2,000. Today's the final day, folks, so get it done. I'm Pam Cook.
Are you frustrated with the cost of prescription drugs? By now you know that your insurance price isn't always the best price on your medication. The new Health Matters Drug Savings Plan is simple. Easy way to save money at your local Medicine Center Pharmacy. No need to visit a website or disclose your private information, fumble with your smartphone, or print out coupons. Just talk to one of our friendly staff members and ask for the best price. Medicine Center Pharmacy with locations in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia, and online at MedShopRx.com. Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Have you ever gone to the pharmacy and decided not to fill a prescription because of the price? This is pharmacist Paul White. If you have skipped filling a prescription or a dose because of the price, we have great news for you. We are introducing a new membership program with wholesale pricing on every generic medication. Memberships are $5 a month. For many of our customers, our wholesale pricing is even less than their copay. Visit our website, MedShopRx.com, and use our price checker to find out the price of your medication. Great deals at Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC. Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Today will start mostly sunny, then become sunny with high clouds later. Expect a high of 63 tonight, a few clouds with a possible late shower. The low will be 49. Tomorrow will be warmer with a mix of clouds and sun, reaching a high of 77. On Sunday, strong winds over 50 miles per hour will bring cooler temperatures, rain, and a thunderstorm. The high will be 65. With the AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Okay, I guess we are back. You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your host and pharmacist, Paul White. This morning, we're talking to Stacy Montgomery.
right, Stacy, before the break, we were talking about counselors that take a faith-based approach. It's got to be a challenge at times to find a counselor you have good chemistry with. Do you have any tips for listeners on how to choose a counselor and maybe even not how to be afraid to reach out and seek one?
Mm-hmm. For sure. I know here at Aultman, we have someone that does an intake. I would encourage people to be honest and as specific as they can, giving background so they can find a good fit. And a lot of times you can ask who has experience in what. So, you can have that good fit. So I would just encourage ask questions, be honest, and yeah, just give the counseling a chance. But yeah, and just reminding listeners that it's not everyone's not the same, and it's everyone has different styles and approaches and backgrounds. Like I know for me, I've been in the drug and alcohol world for almost 10 years, so I come with a co-occurring. So I have the drug and alcohol background, I have mental health and just variety of experiences. So that's something that I offer to people. And then my colleagues also have other life experiences and specialties. But yeah, definitely finding the right fit and the personality is huge because rapport building and the therapeutic relationship really matters. So, and I would encourage people not to give up. I know sometimes they've tried counseling and it wasn't a good fit, but I have clients now that said, "Hey, I've tried this before and I'm glad it's working," or "I've tried this person, I'm glad I didn't give up." But but yeah, that's definitely something is asking questions and yeah, definitely.
Okay. What about, can you talk about some differences between a group environment or an individual counseling session?
Mhm. For sure. Here at Altman, one thing that does separate us too is we do dialectical behavioral group therapy. It's about a 5 to 6 month program. And what's nice about group therapy is you can learn skills faster, but also not feel alone and just that supportive environment and accountability. So for example, that specific group, you learn emotional regulation skills, interpersonal effectiveness, distress tolerance. And like I said earlier, learning those skills and just a lot of times we just don't know. So the group therapy, yeah, definitely provides a safe space to share and learn, especially in a quicker manner. We also have the intensive outpatient, which is for more acute needs, but it is also a more group therapeutic environment. And but yeah, there is a difference, and there's other group therapies out there. So it's important when you do establish a one-on-one counselor, they can let you know options and what would be a best fit. But that's what's nice about counseling. There's various programs and treatments out there.
I would think it would be very difficult to be counseling somebody. Sort of put yourself in their game or their situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think of this as a very difficult position. And when you go home at the evening, you have to remember some of this. Okay, what do I do tomorrow? What's next?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Okay. Sometimes people are afraid of being judged by friends or family when they seek counseling. How should people respond when friends or family are not supportive about counseling or caring for their mental health?
One thing I wanted to touch on with this question is, the brain is an organ just like the pancreas and the liver. And I think sometimes when it comes to mental health and depression, stress, I could just will it away, or what's wrong with me, or, I'm going to work and paying the bills, why do I have to go to counseling and things like that. But it's not a character defect. So I think accepting even within yourself that it's okay to get help, just like if you had a bum shoulder, or you fell and had to go to the doctor. I think with physical ailments, it's people sometimes feel it's like more accepted, but learning how the emotional side of yourself works can really just help with just stress management in general. So I would take it, if you don't feel comfortable at first, you know, do what you can to get the counseling and the help. But you'd be surprised when people share that they're getting help. It makes more people share as well. Some people get interested; they want to ask questions, and there's probably a lot more people either on medications or getting counseling than they want to admit. But when someone opens the door, it brings comfortability, and it can strengthen relationships and being honest with family and friends of I'm something I can't manage alone. I'm tired of being sad. I want to do the best for my family. And so it's really about understanding yourself and realizing your goals. So that could be another avenue to take there when it comes to just feeling judged. I think it starts with yourself first.
We as pharmacists have to, well, I'm not going to say we counsel people, but we do listen, and,
Mm-hmm.
and we do and try and help them on, how can we fix this or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because over the years, all the pharmacists see a fair amount of people with cancer and really um, serious illnesses. And it just, sometimes the people just open up wide in the store or in this corner of the store or some whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it is difficult to, but we find ourselves being a counselor
Yeah.
as well as being a pharmacist, and filling their prescriptions and that sort of thing. So it is interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people are reluctant to seek counseling because they think it makes them look weak, or they don't want to talk to a stranger about their personal problems. How can people work through this hesitancy to try counseling?
Mm-hmm. A lot of times I tell people, you know, if you haven't tried it, what's the worst that can happen? You talk to a new person and you get a different perspective. And what if it helps? A lot of times, most people tend to go to the negative. This won't help. I can do it on my own. But I would encourage people, especially if, hey, I've tried diet and exercise. I've tried to do A, B, and C. But then realizing, hey, I've never tried counseling. What if it can work? And I would say educate yourself. There's videos, articles, understanding what counseling is all about, but definitely just the educational part and realizing that you might get some relief. I always tell people when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, just constantly drained, not feeling well, there's relationships impacted, but realizing that it's not a character defect, that just the benefits of trying something different as well, but yeah, there's a lot of power in just being able to talk. I know for most people, and even in our society, it's kind of like, you know, buck up, buttercup. Just do what you got to do. Pull yourself by your bootstraps. And it's not a weakness. It's more of like, I think it's a strength to be honest and actually address things that maybe we've neglected or ignored. A lot of times we don't realize how past events can affect our mental health now. So even divorce from years ago, maybe, there's things that have happened in our past that can affect our future. But until you work with somebody and gain that awareness, we don't know why we respond how we respond. So just recognizing that at least it's a resource, and I would really encourage, giving it a try.
How can a person express a concern for a family member who is struggling and might need counseling?
Mm. I love this question because I feel like it's not always, there's a lot of judgment, or there's like people like to give advice. I would encourage family members to take a non-judgment approach and to be kind and supportive in terms of, hey, you seem a little bit different. Do you need anything? Do you need to talk? Help me understand. Coming coming forward with non-judgment language can really help. Even some disclosure of, I've been through this too, if you need anything. But I think with family members, trying not to be like pointing out you're what's wrong with you, and you're messing up and things like that, but trying to be more understanding and supportive. Because there's so many things in life that can change our personality and behaviors that sometimes we don't know why. And then families can just, maybe not take the best approach, and that could shut people down. So just trying to understand instead of accuse or be judgmental. Because I've seen that a lot, even in my own family. I've seen, what are you sad about? There's nothing to be sad about. You got a great life. And it's kind of like, it's not my fault. It's not her fault. It's we need to learn how to cope better and understand ourselves. So I think family education is huge, and just having open dialogues. I think a lot of families stray away from emotions, but having the willingness to be honest with each other is huge.
Okay. Time for a final break. You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Are you frustrated with the cost of prescription drugs? By now, you know that your insurance price isn't always the best price on your medication. The new Health Matters drug plan is a simple, easy way to save money at your local Medicine Center pharmacy. No need to visit GoodRx or Single Care, disclose your private information, or print out coupons. Just talk to one of our friendly staff members and ask for the best price. It is that easy. Medicine Center Pharmacy with locations in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia, and online at medshoprx.com. Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off and Out by store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out by store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off and Out by store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out by store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. The Medicine Center Pharmacies are now offering a service to help support your medication needs. We want to make sure that you have the medications you need when you need them. We will contact you 5 to 7 days in advance of your next medication refill to start the process each month. We will review your medications with you. We will contact your physician to initiate the process for refills and schedule a convenient day for pickup or home delivery. We simplify medication pickup into fewer pickups each month at the Medicine Center Pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia. Have you ever gone to the pharmacy and decided not to fill a prescription because of the price? This is pharmacist Paul White. If you have skipped filling a prescription or a dose because of the price, we have great news for you. We are introducing a new membership program with wholesale pricing on every generic medication. Memberships are $5 a month. For many of our customers, our wholesale pricing is even less than their copay. Visit our website, medshoprx.com, and use our price checker to find out the price of your medication. Great deals at Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Okay, welcome back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your pharmacist, Paul White. Thank you for joining us. Let's get back to the show.
All right, before the break, we talked a little bit about when friends and family can be encouraged to have a loved one seek counseling. You made me think about a couple things in your last segment that made me think about, if you play basketball, you have a coach. If you play football, you have a coach. A counselor's a coach. It just kind of helps you with those different life problems. So I guess I kind of wondered if you thought about, could expand on how, if someone suggested you might want to talk to somebody, you probably get your back up at first and think that, how dare you tell me what to do, or maybe that's not something you're used to, kind of like you said, be tough, pull yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever. But how can you maybe help someone listening maybe be more aware that this person that's talking to them is like trying to help them or is concerned about them, rather than be, don't tell me what to do?
Mm. No, that's a good question because that is a misconception at times. Counselors aren't here to tell someone how to live or what they should do. And actually, the first couple sessions is rapport building. Just get to know the background. What do they need? What would they like out of counseling? And I like your reference too, because I am more like and every personality is different, but taking on that coach role, providing resources. I always tell people like, hey, this is like a buffet. There's a variety of ways you can pick and choose what works. For some people, there's mindfulness exercises that really work. Journaling. There's various, ways that help people. But coming in and just getting to know someone, a lot of times just telling people things you've never shared with someone is life changing. There's so many people that have held in things they maybe said or done or experienced in their home life. They've been embarrassed, they've held it in, and it's impacted moving forward in their future. But just even having someone to so-called, vent and dump on, it just can be freeing. That's what I hear a lot is just, I've never shared this with anyone. And there's some things that are just private that need, and so it's nice to have that outside person that, hey, I'm not going to judge you. I'm just here to listen and provide some resources and let's work together. Collaboration is huge. Meeting the client where they're at. So I definitely just would encourage listeners to understand that we're just here to help. We want to provide resources and get you back feeling better and create the life that you want. Because life is hard and there's a lot going on right now. And just having that added support, even if it's once a week, once a month, can really make a huge difference.
I'm sure you've heard it all. What are some reasons or maybe some excuses people tell you that they think counseling won't work for them?
Mm. Um, one would be, I've tried this before, or I've tried other ways, and you don't understand me. You haven't been what I've been through, things like that. First of all, you don't know what you don't know. So if you give someone a chance, and you might realize, I don't have to have your same life experience, but I have the skills and the background and knowledge to provide different perspectives. And another thing I hear too along these lines of, hey, I'm going to work, I'm paying the bills. I don't know why my wife wants me to come to counseling, why my husband's mad, you know, but being able to look at yourself and realize, hey, maybe I'm more irritable, or I'm not taking care of all of areas of my life. Once again, I see that a lot to where, my wife thinks wife or husband, not stereotyping, but they think I should come to counseling, and I don't know what's wrong, but they don't realize, man, maybe I've been drinking more. Maybe I haven't been really present with my family. I'm just kind of isolating, until a counselor can help you understand, hey, that does impact our relationships. They're just saying that because they love you. It's not an attack. So when you understand how your behaviors can affect your relationships, even with your coworkers, family, friends, a lot of times we feel attacked and defensive, but we don't realize it's because people care and they're trying to point things out to us.
I think it could be interesting too, and maybe you can comment on this about, there's times where maybe you just aren't as self-aware as you need to be for things that you need to like look at. And I mean it still happens to me, and I feel like I'm in control, right? But there's things that happen, and it just I made a note earlier, you said something about it was kind of when you can't control that impulse, and I was thinking about you know what? That's like a really good analogy, because there's things that you might do every day that you don't realize it till you catch yourself, and you think, I know better. Why am I doing that? So,
Okay. Okay. If someone feels stuck, how can they move forward in their life? Tough question.
Well, and I think that's what counseling is all about, though, is they present, what am I? I'm feeling stuck. I keep in and out of these unhealthy relationships. I don't feel satisfied in life. My job, I'm scared to change jobs, or, stuck in many ways. But once again, having that outside perspective to say, hey, maybe you didn't think about it like this, or providing resources. But once again, counseling provides the tools and the perspective that a lot of people haven't been given. A lot of times it's like, this is how I was raised, this is what my family does, this is what I believe, and this is how I function. And that's fine for some people, but you have to ask yourself, am I happy? Do I like my quality of life? A lot of times mental health is just asking yourself, do I have the life that I want, or is it the life that everyone thinks I should have? And I feel like that's what keeps people stuck, is the pressures of family and society. But when people take a step back and say, hey, maybe I want to try this different job, or I want to move, and a counselor can help you work through fears and the anxiety of change. A big thing is change. A lot of people struggle with change, even if there's so many different changes in life, obviously, but it's learning how to adapt and be flexible so we're not always stressed out and going to fear and get debilitated when something happens in our life.
We're kind of tight on time here, but these are two important questions. What aspects of the person's life are explored in counseling, and what can someone expect in the first session?
Mm-hmm. This first session is a way to build rapport. We'll get to know your background, ask about, any stressors, your goals, what are some needs, and just kind of get a picture of what's going on and things that matter to you and you want to work on. Like I said, it's very client centered. And that first session is a good way to kind of start developing that treatment plan on, hey, these are the things we'll work on. But it's very open too. There's sometimes people have been through traumatic events and things like that. So the areas that can be explored, it could be our past, it could be relationships is a big one. I have a lot of people that in and out of unhealthy relationships, and they don't know why. Why do I keep doing this? So I think a big thing with counseling is understanding your why. Because when you know why, then you can make informed decisions so you don't keep that behavior, or if it's working, keep doing it. But when we don't know why we're doing something, we're more likely to keep doing it. So, but yeah, that's what's nice about counseling too, is you have the freedom to talk about what you need to talk about.
All right. Well, how about you give us a little bit of information about how people can get in touch with your services and where you're located, so that we can make sure that listeners are clear on where they can get help if they need some.
No, thank you. Yeah, Aultman Behavioral Health here. We're at 2600 Tusk in the professional building. And the phone number is 330-493-9607. And you call that and you hit the intake line and they'll walk you through the process. And once again, we have medication providers, we have counseling. And I do want to emphasize, just because you go to counseling, you don't need medication. And I think another fear is that aspect. So, I mean, everyone's different, but it is nice that we do provide that. And so I will say, start there and then tell the intake staff what you need. And but yeah, I just encourage anyone that's even having some small life difficulties, have someone to talk to and get the help you need so you can have the quality of life that you want.
How about group sessions? I don't think we talked too much about that. Do you have group sessions or not?
Yes, here at Aultman, we provide DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 3 to 5. And you do have to meet certain criteria, but most people that are struggling with just regulating their emotions, some relationship problems, distress tolerance, it's a good group to gain those skills. So yes, here at Aultman, we do offer that group therapy, which is nice because not a lot of counseling centers offer DBT, so we do stand out in that area. So people can call and just ask about that as well. So the DBT and individualized counseling.
Okay. I think we're out of time, aren't we, Brad?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you to our guest, Stacy Montgomery. Interesting discussion today. If you suspect you have a medical issue, please contact your healthcare provider. Thanks to Aultman Health System and our listeners for joining us on Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Have a healthy week, and we'll see you right here again next Friday on News Talk Radio 1480 WHBC. Thank you very much, Stacy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I think you have a tough job. I really do.
I enjoy it though.
Okay. Good day.
All right. Thank you very much.